What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Capsule. Yay! Woo! I'm here with Lewis Tigran, DJ Popper extraordinaire, who I would consider one of the Capsule crew. It's been a while since he's been on because last time we had a lot of complaints. So no, I'm joking. No, but yeah. So I don't really count this as like an interview one. It's more of a chit chat. In-house pod, which I do love as much as I love the interviews. I also love when we can just chat about life and topics and such, and I think maybe the audience do as well. And what else is there to say on the intro? I'm also here. I'm Luke. Nice to meet you, everyone. No, I don't think there's anything too much. Yeah, how are you anyway?
I'm good, mate. I'm having a really, really good week in London.
Should we start with your week in London? Why the flip are you even here, man?
I've been here for... How long have I been here?
Since?
Friday.
You came Friday, yeah.
Yeah,
so
I've definitely settled in now.
Yeah?
I'm going to feel weird going home, yeah. I'm going to miss it.
Because Manchester's shit?
No, I've had a... No, Manchester's not shit. I love Manchester.
Yeah, I know you do.
Manchester.
That's why I'm saying it.
Yeah, I mean, how can I describe this week? It's more like a week of investing in myself, shall we say. Yeah.
So what's, for the audience at home, what is the main reason you're here?
The main reason I'm here is I'm doing Tally's program, intensive, III.
Identity, Ideas, Industry. The way she made me remember that is that the shortest word goes in the middle. Identity, Ideas, Industry.
Identity, Ideas,
because I used to say Ideas, Identity.
I've just been saying III. That's probably the first time I've said the whole thing
yeah.
all week.
And do you want to explain to them what it is if people don't know? I mean, loyal listeners of the Capsule crew, loyal listeners. We need a name, by the way. I was thinking about this. I think loyal listeners is catchy, but like we need, because like, you know, the Beehive or the, what's Nicki Minaj's people?
Oh, no idea.
Flipping Barbs. Like Barbie, the Barbs. We need like a... If you're
Capsule
a Capsule
Army. No, it sounds too football.
Yeah. Guys, write in if you have it. Like, write in the comments or let us know. What would you like to be called? I like loyal listeners. For the ones that specifically listen to the podcast, you're definitely the loyal listeners. That's a good name. But also just for everyone that kind of contributes, I'm like, I need a name for them. But anyway, they will know about it, the loyal listeners, because we've done... like 4 podcasts on it, plus multiple where we've talked about last year's one and all this. But yeah, for people that are new, maybe, do you want to explain to them what the week is about?
I mean...
It'd be funny if you just said no and left the podcast.
Well,
no, I don't want to.
I went in like not really knowing what it was going to be about, which also I feel was the general... the general feeling among everybody. I thought it was just me not really knowing what was going on.
Oh, is there a lot of people that
a lot of people like didn't really, and I think Tally made a point of it, like that she purposely doesn't put much out there because she doesn't know how the week's gonna go. Yeah. Hopefully I've not butchered what she said, but
no, I think that's true.
Yeah, it's a week of, how can I even describe it? You can help me out. You've done it before.
Yeah.
It's like you're not learning material. You're kind of, it's just ways to rethink how you approach stuff. I mean, how can we describe it? It's hard to describe, really.
Yeah, I mean, the III thing is like the identity, ideas, industry is like the 3 strands where it's like identity is about yourself and your identity as a dancer and as a mover. Ideas is about how you generate material. Yeah. And then industry is about the industry and professional life and stuff like that. Yeah. So that's the kind of, I guess, what it says on the tin. But in terms of like actually what it is I mean, I think it's different every edition, first of all. Like not completely different, but as in like depending on who's in the room, she curates the room very well. Yeah. But maybe I guess like, you know, if you talk about your experience on it, then people kind of get a sense for it without you needing to necessarily do the marketing for Tally.
Yeah, I mean, so my experience on it, first of all, Tally said to be honest.
Oh, did you know we were going to talk about it?
Well, I mentioned it, she was like, please be honest.
Yeah.
And I said to myself, before going on, that knowing we were going to talk about it, that I would be honest, but genuinely it has been amazing.
Okay, that's good. That's a good start. He's lying. I'm joking.
She paid me.
Yeah.
No, it's been really good. I went on there, I mean, everyone goes on there for different reasons, but I went on there because firstly, it's something completely different to what I would usually do, coming from like a battle background. very much like a styles background. This week's all about just movement in general,
right?
And like how we can use movement in different ways. And yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think how can I best describe it, because it is such a unique experience. But put it this way, it doesn't feel like, even though we're all learning the same thing and we're all in the same room, it's like you take from it what you want to take from it and apply it to your own dance, I guess, your own movement, which is what I really like about it, is that like you can be from a battle background, you could not really have any dance experience, you could be an amazing choreographer. I feel like it benefits everybody.
Yeah.
And when I've heard other people say that, like Lauren, I was like, how can it benefit? But genuinely, it does benefit everybody. And all the things I was worried about going into it, have been disproved. Like I was worried.
Oh, interesting.
I was worried that I wouldn't fit in because I'm from a battle background, but turns out everybody, almost like you said, celebrates the idea that you're different. I was worried that I wouldn't be able to take anything from it because it's something completely different, but I think,
like, you thought that it might, like, the stuff might not be applicable to you.
Yeah, I was like, I'm sure I'm going to learn loads, but I was worried that I'm going to spend a week learning something that I then can't really transfer over to what I do. But I couldn't be more wrong, basically.
Right. What on that? Like, what is there that you've learned that? Like, how were you wrong in that way?
Okay, so all the way up to this point, the only way I've learned really is by like learning a technique or learning a move that I can instantly apply to my dance.
Right. For example,
like popping, like learning how to do tuts, learning how to do a technique. Whereas this week, she's like, it's more about ways to approach how you move. So even like the way you listen to music, like not trying to hit all the different things in a song and letting it breathe. And to be honest, not just movement, but like,
pull the mic.
Not just movement, but the whole week kind of gives space for you to like just talk to other dancers and other people, which is definitely something I've not done before for this amount of time in one week.
Yeah, because I think that was a big part of it for you that was different, is like not only are you doing the exercises, but you're doing them and then chatting about them afterwards and sharing.
About them, and there's no, like, she never puts a cap on the conversation, like it has to end. Like if people want to keep adding, they can keep adding. And sometimes like at the end of a 45-minute conversation that was started maybe as a tangent, we get into some really like deep topics, and like those are the points where I've learned the most, even more so maybe than the physical activities. I've enjoyed the sitting and chatting and getting deep into things. And it's a space where like I feel like I can say anything.
That's important.
It will be accepted in a way. Or
like even if you're like, I didn't like that task or something, it's going to be like, okay, well, let's delve into that.
Exactly.
Why are we uncomfortable?
Exactly. I never feel silly sharing my opinion or asking a question. And like, because the room's so diverse, there's 30 people at this time. Right. Which is the most, I think. The most I think there's been on the course. But yeah, everybody's completely different countries, different dance backgrounds, different reasons for being there, different ages. But it means like you can pose so many different questions, and there's always some experience somewhere to spit a bit of knowledge, I guess. Yeah. And also just, I guess also specifically for you, where you're in Manchester training with like not that many people, and a lot of times you train by yourself. Yeah. Where it's like you're not necessarily like, you're just doing and even like we were talking about this, but you just started filming your rounds even, and before that you weren't filming. So even in terms of this like feedback loop of your dance, before you were just dancing, now you're dancing and watching it back. Now with Tally, you're dancing, watching and discussing. And it's like all these, like Lauren talked about that when she was on the pod, but like that's a lot of like different ways to learn rather than just doing, you know what I mean? Which I think is really important. It is true, like sometimes you learn the most from conversations about stuff, and like you go back and start moving and you're like, oh, this feels different and I haven't even trained, you know.
Like we were just talking about this before the pod came on, but even me saying that like I want to watch Euphoria to like get in a mood to then create something because it puts me in that mindset, and it's like you can get your inspiration or your I don't know, your creative mojo going through like conversation through it. Like for me, it's like it's really strong when I like watch stuff like have you seen Blade Runner 2049?
Blade Runner? No.
The one with Ryan Gosling.
No.
I'm going to show you the thing, but yeah, basically I love this movie, but like the movie itself is decent. If anyone's seen it, you'll know. But like the movie itself is decent enough. That one. No?
I've not watched it. I'm aware
Bro,
of the
like
storyline.
visually, oh, it's gorgeous. It is like I could watch. I always say this, but like, I could watch that movie on mute.
Yeah.
Like if there was like like I mean it does exist, but like video picture frames.
Yeah.
I could frame the movie on repeat in my house. Like,
I want to watch it now.
Gorgeous, bro. Like it's very slow moving, so it's like there's a lot of scenes that just like take ages. So it's not like a quick action movie. It's like a very quite mature in the way it's paced film.
Is that a shared view, or is that something, being like a videographer and working with a lot, is that something you pick up on when you watch a film?
I mean, I think you'd look at this and go, holy shit.
Right.
Like it's very striking visuals, like in a lot of places. And the cinematographer, I don't want to say this wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's Roger Deakins, who is a legend of cinematography. I'm just going to check that it's him that did Blade Runner for those that are listening and not. Yeah, he did do Blade Runner. But Roger Deakins has done a lot of other films that you would have seen. But basically, do you know what cinematography is before I go off on this tangent?
Give me a definition.
If I'm, you have like obviously the director, the script writer, blah, blah, blah. And let's say the scene is Luke and Lewis are in a bar having a chat, and the screenwriter and the whatever want to like, they make the conversation, they write the dialogue and everything, and then the director's like, right, I want the bar to like, I want this conversation to feel very personal and almost to have a shot here where it's like over Luke's shoulder showing Lewis, but you don't see the background and blah blah. The cinematographer is basically the guy who knows everything about cameras and lenses and shots and even like they would work with the lighting department. So the lighting guys are obviously the guys who are the best at lighting, but Roger Deakins will come in and go, right, if you want something personal and an over the shoulder shot, blah blah, like we want this type of lens and this type of camera, and actually you want to shoot it on film with blah blah blah, and then like he'll talk with the lighting guys to like how to make the perfect shot so that the actual physical look of it achieves your vision as a director.
Right.
So, and sometimes it's crazy the shit that they do. It's not just like literally like how I would pick a lens out of my 6 that I have or whatever. It's like they'll get custom lenses like made. Like I can't remember who did it, but there's one film where they wanted it to feel like a certain time period. So they contacted the company that used to make the cameras in that time period and got them to remake a set of lenses for digital cameras that were only ever meant for film cameras, but they say like repurpose them, remake them, because they were like discontinued, and obviously they had big Hollywood budgets. So the guy's like, if I can get this exact glass from this lens. Oh no, that was the other thing, is like they took the glass when they remade it from the existing lenses. So they got the old like lenses from like the 1930s or whenever it was, took the glass out and put it in newer lenses that could be compatible with newer cameras. And it was like a whole custom job, just because he's like, if it's shot through this glass, it's going to feel like this type of thing. And it's like, they know that level of detail. Oh man,
yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. So anyway, Roger Deakins is like the guy. If you think of a film that's like, this film was gorgeously shot, it's good chances it's Roger Deakins.
He may have shot it.
That was the
nice
cinematographer. Anyway, all that to say, me watching like Blade Runner or Euphoria or whatever can put me in a mindset to create something better than if I just got up and tried to create it, if that makes sense. Even if like freestyle or creating a piece or whatever. So, and then the same with the conversation or whatever. It's like if I sit and even if I didn't dance at II, like I've done that before where I've filmed or something, and it's like I just sit in and listen for the week. Or the artists, Tally's other thing that she did with Zoo Nation, that is like I sit there and film, and after that I'm like, oh, I could go and create something now, you know. It's like you're in that right zone. I mean, you probably get like that with battles or something. You get hyped up, or you listen to, you're like, you ever been in your kitchen and you're like, I would fucking smoke someone right now.
I'll be
like,
anyone,
and you're exactly, you're like, give me the best popper in the world and I'll smoke them. And it's like, just because you're revved up or whatever, ready to battle. And it doesn't even have to be a battle song that you heard. It could be like a rap song where the guy's talking his shit and you're like, oh, I want to battle someone now. It's like you get in that mood. So anyway, all that to say, I think it's like there's definitely like way more than one way to like learn or to be inspired to create, I guess.
Definitely. And even like this week we've done a lot of reading, which I never do. And even when she said for the first time, oh, go grab a book,
you were like,
whatever. But the books she has are really good, first of all, and I'm probably going to buy one of them.
Which one?
It was about creativity, like how
James and the Giant Peach.
James and the Giant Peach. It was I can't remember the name of it, but it's like how to tap into your creativity a little bit better. But I never read, and I was like, when she was like, all right, put the books away, I was like, oh.
Yeah.
So yeah, just different ways to get inspired, I guess.
Sick, love that.
Yeah,
that's dope. And any kind of key takeaways of your dance, or like highlight moments that were like, oh shit, this was a really good task, or
a really good task, yeah.
Or like maybe not task, but like any moments that you're like, oh, this is really helpful for me, and this is something I didn't.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much I'm allowed to say about the details of the exercises, but I've taken a lot from. We did an exercise yesterday based on choreo, and like how to generate choreo, because being a freestyler, one of my weaker points, and I feel like she mentioned how when she was making choreo, she used to just inch along the song, which is exactly what I do. But we were doing exercises like recycling old choreo, like taking a bit of choreo that she taught us, and then reusing it on a song of our own, like stretching it or whatever. And it's something I've never thought about doing, but I really enjoyed doing that task, and I never really enjoyed doing choreo based things. But I really enjoyed that, and it made the whole approach to making choreo more fun.
Sick.
I mean, it's all been really beneficial, to be honest. There's not been a moment yet, I'm on day 4 out of 5, where I've been like, oh, I can't really be bothered for this. There's been times that were better, but like overall I've taken something from everything we've done. And like I say, because of the chats we've been having, that's what really helps, because if we do a task and I'm like, don't really get why we were doing that.
You're not like connected with it.
Yeah, and then we have a 30-minute chat about it, and people talk about what they took from it, what they liked, what they didn't like.
Yeah.
Suddenly I'm like, oh, okay. And I get it now, you know? So
yes, yeah. Which is like, again, like you said, it's like, it might not be even that the movement is the important part. It's just more like the movement illustrated.
Yes.
Something that like, then you can learn from it. If that makes sense.
I mean, I'd be happy to do a whole day of just talking with Tally and going over stuff. Yeah. Over the movement stuff. I think, that's a good way to put it. The physical movement we've been doing is more just to practice the theories that we've been chatting about, is how I'm taking it.
Right, that's a good way of thinking of it.
But yeah, I highly recommend it to literally anyone.
Sick.
There's
I think that's why I really was like pushing for you to do it, because I feel like it's a perfect, because of the way, and I know quite well through conversation and through being in the room, like the way Tally does her thing, and I think it's a really good one for like when you're at the point of like needing to, like, you invest in yourself and discover yourself. It's like there's always a point that you need to come around to do that again, but it is really like when you're lost, like, I think I don't want to say you were lost, but like when you were like, you were so like knee deep in,
I was fixed kind of on one path, I would say, or I wasn't exposing myself to enough. Yeah,
it's like you were like, I'm a popper, I'm doing popping, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, I could see there was a lot of stuff, we were talking about this, like when I was helping you with the dance and stuff, is like where there was a lot of things to work on and to like fix up. And then after a while, it's like, okay, now you got the basics of the dance figured out, right? And I think this is the same with anyone that does battle styles. Once you have the basics of the dance figured out, people stay in that mindset of, I need to learn more to be better, right? I need to learn more moves. I need to learn more foundations. I need to learn more techniques. I need to be better at those techniques in order to get to the next level, right? And I think sometimes that's true when you have some big holes in your dance. And we spoke about that with you. But I think then actually the truth is not that you need to, there's not one key, there's not one move, there's not one answer that's going to make you better. It's like you need to now discover yourself and discover how you want to apply that movement and how you input your learnings, your thoughts, your inspirations into that movement, because there's a million people that have like thousands of pieces of vocabulary or the best technique and blah blah, but they're devoid of feeling and individuality in their dance. And that's like a key, that's like the key to the it's the secret sauce, the secret ingredient in the sauce, you know, is that you need to put you into the dance. And the hardest thing is, if you don't know who you are, it's very hard to put that into your dance. And I think especially with battlers, that's a big thing that's missing, is like you're looking and searching sometimes the entire world for the golden key, the golden recipe, the golden thing to make your dance. Or like, what moves do I not know? What techniques? And you're asking all these OGs and you're asking all your mentors, like, what can I do to be better? And it's like, it sounds very cliche, but like the answer is, not only is it in you, it is you. You are the answer.
Yeah.
It's like when you find out who you are, when you figure out what you want to say, how you want to maneuver in this world, you're going to input that into your dance. And regardless of how much you've improved your actual technique, you're going to be better and more successful, and people are going to want to watch you, and you're going to perform with more vigor. And you know what I mean? It's like, that's why some of the best dancers in the world aren't perfect technically, but they're them. And even if we talk culturally, it's like part of hip hop culture is individuality. And, you know, if we're talking about battles and stuff. So anyway, that's why I think like, with Tally Sing, it's like that moment is really important. Tally Sing is very important if you're at that moment. And that's not only to say, I'm just making a point about battlers, but I think like when someone gets to that point where they're like, what's next? Who am I? Like, whatever. It's like, go to that instead of going to like, and that's why I was saying it with you, is like, you could go to all the popping workshops in the world, but this week is going to do more for you than any new techniques. And now even if you go and learn new techniques, you're going to come at it with a different brain.
Different approach.
Does that make sense?
Oh, it makes loads of sense, yeah. You couldn't have said it better. No, I agree. I mean, just to like add on to it, I think in terms of like improving a dance, sometimes it is a case of like looking outside of the dance and the training and just living your life. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, bro.
Like going out and going to a party and socializing, or
it's the same with any art form.
Yeah.
Anything. If you want to make films, if you want to paint, if you want to be a stand-up comedian, it's like sometimes you got to live life and generate input to then express.
Well, yeah, and we spoke about it kind of at, when we were doing the reading afterwards. Again, we chat and people would talk about like any nuggets they found. And one of the books was talking about, I think it's called An Artist's Way.
Yeah.
An Artist's Way.
Jen has that. You know, it's a whole. Have you read it?
It's like not a course, but
you can do it.
Yeah. And one of the things is like taking yourself out on artist dates and like doing stuff that, which is something I'm going to do because there's so much stuff in Manchester.
You should do The Artist's Way.
Yeah.
We spoke about it at the Capsule mentorship.
Oh, we did.
Yeah.
Because I was like, why have I heard of this before? I don't even read books.
Yeah, we spoke about it because basically it's like, you get the book and it's a 12-week course. And you go through it and you have to do all the stuff that it says to do. And hopefully it's kind of like a book version of Tally's course.
Yeah.
I haven't done it myself, but Jen's done it like 3 times, I think. You should definitely do it, man.
Yeah, I'm going to do it. I think I am going to do it.
Especially after this week. Yeah, so like for anyone that doesn't know, it's like this 12-week course, and it's stuff like take yourself on artist dates, which means like go do something that is going to feed your artistic side, I guess. So go to a gallery, go to watch a movie or whatever, but it's not like go to do something to relax or to enjoy it. It's like specifically, like I guess what I was talking about, watching Blade Runner or Euphoria, like something that I know is purely to feed my artistic self.
It's like you never know where the inspiration's going to come from.
Exactly.
You can't assume it's always going to be watching popping battles on YouTube.
And it very rarely is, because you know what I think about that sort of stuff, which I do, and I get inspired by it, but it is a bit like, you know, in the airplane, it's like the same air being recycled, and like you're just like breathing in other people's breath. That's kind of what it's like. The ideas that they come up with came from another popper who you might have inspired, and it's like, so you're watching your own ideas like circulated around, and it's like with this pressurized cabin of like circular ideas, and it's like it just takes one. Like, look at what Salah did in the popping scene. It's like you take one person to go, how about instead of watching the Boogaloos and other poppers, I'm going to go watch mimes, magicians, and family entertainers and bring that to the popping. And everyone was like, wait, you can do that? And it's you know, you go do something, even just like, okay, hip hop dancers learning from breakers. It changes everything. You know what I mean? Like, there's...
You know, on Instagram, you can now like... I don't know if there's only certain people who can do it. They can make like groups, like famous people can make join
broadcast channel.
MT Pop made one, right? And every day he like posts stuff in there that has inspired him that day.
Oh,
but
sick.
He never posts like videos of battles. It would be like a reel of showing like geometry or shapes or like a mathematical equation, and he's like, this is what's inspired me today.
Right, so you're seeing kind of like, you're like, oh, you're not out here just watching other battles.
Yeah, he's watching, like taking stuff from everyday life.
Right.
Yeah, man, it makes sense.
Sick. That's interesting. Anything else on Tally's week? You'd recommend it?
Yeah, man, I definitely recommend it. And I mean, I don't know if it's a thing of doing it twice, but
yeah, people have done it 2-3 times.
I'm definitely going to do it twice.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, get on it if you can. If you're thinking about doing it, definitely do it, because I was putting it off for a hot minute. But she said on the course, like, it's normal that people have put it off and whatever, but being here now is like...
No, I think now is the perfect time for you to do it. I think I was trying to push you to do it last year, but I think maybe it would have been too soon. But yeah, I think it's like it happens when it happens for a good reason, I think. But that's good. And yeah, I think it's also good, like coming from a battle perspective of like how you can think of yourself as an artist and you know, that type of stuff, as opposed to, and it's really true what you said, that like being in that type of room, and it's really valuable to be in that type of room where people aren't like, oh, you're not a contemporary dancer like us, or you know what I mean, or whatever it is, you're not artsy like us. It's like your stuff is equally as cool as what we do, and equally as artistic, and even if you don't even believe that yourself, but they believe it, you know. Which is really nice. And I think we've all, as much as any classical dancers or more artsy dancers out there have probably gone into a battle scenario and felt like they weren't validated enough, and they weren't like, they're like, oh yeah, I don't do all this battle stuff, so they look down on me. It's kind of like they don't realize that we also feel like that when we go to like calm spaces where they're doing like contact improv, and like we feel stupid because you're like, oh, okay, I can tut, but this isn't deep or like artistic, it's just cool shit. And it's like, it is nice to walk into a room and those people to validate you and feel like, oh no, what you do is really nice and cool, and it can have, you know, it can fit into our world, and like,
yeah, it's celebrated, like
exactly
what you said. But yeah, I mean, it's also like a week of exposure therapy for me, I guess.
Okay.
Putting myself in situations where I wouldn't feel most comfortable. Like, because as in, I tend to put myself in rooms where I know I can be really good at it, like a training session or a battle or whatever. Something like that for me was completely out my comfort zone, but just getting there already felt like an achievement. So yeah, man, I'm really happy I did it. Really happy I did it.
I'm happy you did it too.
Thanks, man. I'm
looking forward to seeing how it changes shit. It might not tomorrow, but it might, you know, over the course of months as it settles. But yeah, shout out to Tally, shout out to Identity Ideas Industry. Check them out on Insta. There's a page for specifically the program, but also Tally leaves some gems on there sometimes. Sometimes she goes on Insta Live and rants about stuff, which we love also when she can't come on the pod and do it. And a lot of like, interesting stuff, and like sometimes you'll see like castings going around, and then if you check their page, it will be like, hey guys, don't do this casting. The pay is £100 for 17 hours. So very helpful page to follow, and we love Tally anyway.
And Tally is hilarious. I can see why you two are good friends. Really? And I can see where you get some of your humour.
Really?
Yeah.
Like what type of thing?
Like just the way that you're sarcastic or blunt about certain things. And
me?
Yeah.
Never.
But no, Tally, I mean, as serious as it's been all week, and like,
she does make you laugh as well.
Yeah, she's always making me laugh.
She does tread that line between super serious, deep, artistic, and then just hilarious, that's what she said type of joke. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, maybe not necessarily that, but she's very like back and forth on that line, which is, I love that.
Like I said to you at the start of the week, she makes me feel, what did I say? Safe. I feel safe when I'm around Tally.
Because like you feel like you can say what you want to say or do what you want to do, and she's not going to like...
Yeah. And even if like I say something that maybe does sound a bit stupid, she somehow finds a way to make it make sense. And I'm like, oh yeah, actually that is true.
Yeah,
you know,
that's what I said.
That's better. Yeah, literally. So
sick.
Yeah, man.
We love that.
Big up Tally.
We love you, Tals.
Love you, Tally.
She's gonna come through at some point and we'll chat more from her perspective. She'll be like, Lewis was an asshole. I hated having him there. No. What else in life shall we talk about?
Well, there's a big topic.
Nike.
Yeah.
Own the floor sessions.
Own the floor.
Thanks everyone for coming.
Yeah.
I super appreciate it. I haven't touched base with you loyal listeners since we've had our Own the Floor sessions, or since they've started, because I've had interviews, I think, the last few. Yeah, we had our January and February sessions. Next up we have March on the 22nd of March, which registration's open on the 8th. Yeah, it's been very interesting. You DJ'd the second one. How'd you find it?
The whole event or DJing?
The event.
The event, I couldn't say a bad word about it, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah, bro, I really enjoyed it. I mean, and I'm kind of echoing what a few people have said and I've said as well, but it really is something that the scene has been missing. And I don't think I realised that until it came about. Like, I knew there was no parties and stuff, but
you're kind of like, why do we need this?
Who cares about? And then seeing it and like seeing the growth that needs to be done in certain areas. Yeah. You know, in terms of just how to party and how to. Yeah. Yeah, I think that if it carries on and if more events like this happen, and I think it could have a really beneficial impact on the scene as a whole. I
hope so. I like to think so. I think, yeah, it's been a really interesting thing to watch for me in the sense of like how people behave, even just for the first two, or how people behave, how the night goes, because yeah, it is like, I don't want to be like, oh, you know, there's one way to party or there's one way to Cypher or blah, blah, blah. But, and people can do what they want, but there are certain things that lend themselves better to certain environments, right? And I think it's been really interesting to see, like, I knew obviously how the scene used to be that this sort of thing happened more, and that's more where dance happened than in battles. There was a few battles, but it was more like spots where we could jam. And I'm not saying I was always like a crazy party head going out. I wasn't really like that's more the house people that were doing that. But, you know, I was more like, but it was like, even when I'm learning to pop and learning to what is, I was in cyphers, in jams, like it wasn't so much in battles, even if I did battle. But yeah, it's just really interesting of like, oh man, there's so many things. I was using it as like a little case study in my head. I was like, it's so interesting how the scene has changed. One thing that's good is that like a lot of younger people came. A lot of the demographic of who's there are like younger, which is nice. I'd love if more of the older generation people would come, especially because they're often the ones talking about the scene needing more parties. I would love if you'd come to the one that I put on. But also it's totally fine if people can't make it, you know, no guilt trip here. But it's also interesting because like there's a lot of crossover of like who's there. So for example, you have a lot of like the younger kids who haven't really ever grown up in this type of thing. But then we also had like the whackers, the house dancers, the Afro scene were there heavy this time.
Carried the party, in my opinion. Yeah,
I'll get onto them in a minute. But like, yeah, like those people who I would say like they understand this environment a bit more. They understand when there's a 6-hour event, you don't have to cypher from 6:05. Like you can chill, enjoy it a little bit. And that there's certain types of music where you just want to have fun on, certain type of music where you're dancing. Even cyphers are different in that type of environment because, and it made me realize like I have to work on that, or not that I have to, but it's something I want to work on. But like ciphering at an event or a battle or even just battling at a battle, everybody's like forced to watch you, right? So the way that the dance has evolved in battles and stuff over these years is it can afford to be a lot more intricate and detailed and on the nuances of the music, because when you have your 1 minute or your 30 seconds or whatever, people are watching you almost exclusively, right? Yes, maybe your opponent's going to distract them or something, but they're watching you. So the dance of hip hop, house, popping, all of these styles has evolved in a battle sense in a way that you're able to dance very intricately and an audience will focus on that, right? And when you cypher, there's a big difference in the sense that it's a lot more energy based. Whereas like if people are standing, if you're ciphering in a party, let's say, and people are standing around, it's not so much that I want, and it's like a natural thing because of the environment, because of the vibe. I'm not saying this is like my actual want, but this is just how I find myself feeling, is that when you go in, I don't want to stand still and focus on the intricate details. I want to like vibe and dance with you.
Yeah.
So when you come in, there's people that are like technically not as strong dancers that were killing the ciphers at these sessions, right? And there's those same people wouldn't do as good in battles, and then there's battle people that were coming in and the cypher kind of wasn't reacting because you're used to people focusing and you're not really bringing energy that we can get on board with, if that makes sense. And I think, and there's people like let's say Kieran Lay, he was great because has that intricate side, but he's such a performer that he's used to making crowds have energy, and you see this skill set that you never really see employed in battles. So we were watching Jimmy at Summer Dance when he was like using what I would call like cypher skills, where he's getting the crowd involved in the feeling of his dance and joining in almost. But it's like you see these ciphers that you're in, and when some people jump in, everybody around the sides is like moving with them and cheering and laughing and joking and there's, you know, whatever. And then there's sometimes where people go in, they're doing great stuff, but everybody around is just standing straight faced because they're doing really small, intricate stuff, which is not bad. It's just two different ways of moving, but it's also like the kind of natural thing of a cypher is that you want this energy to keep building, because it's why it, like, there's in a battle, it's organized that two people are going to dance, then two more people are going to dance and whatever. So even if you don't enjoy this, you're still going to dance. If I don't enjoy your round, I'm going to wander off. And the cypher's slowly just going to break off. If it gets killed too many times, people will just leave, especially if you're drinking and stuff, which you're not at the...
ciphers like that.
You haven't?
I've been in ciphers like
exactly.
that.
And it's like, you know when you're not keeping the attention of the cypher. And it's actually quite... It's because I felt that both sides a few times at the events when I was ciphering. And I was like, this is nice because I haven't had to flex this muscle in a long time. Of like, I went in one time and started doing a round and I was like, no one's paying attention. I'm losing the energy. So I changed up and started dancing a bit differently and people started to pay more attention. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. There was one time in this session where I went in and there's a song that I know really well and I was waiting for the lyrics to drop so that I could kill it, right? And I start... And as I'm building up, someone else jumps in and kind of takes the thing. And it's like, yo, I was being boring. Yeah. And it's like, they jumped in to take, and like, they kind of, and I let them, you know, I wasn't going to make a big deal out of it. Like, so they went in and I was like, yeah, that's what happens. It's like, you can't afford to like do these long builds up. It's like, say something, keep the energy or get out. All
right. So here's a question for you then. I know you want to work on it, but what are some things that the intricate dancer that's not used to it can do to be better in a cypher?
Well, I think
what do you think are the qualities that make like Shaq, for example?
He was who I was in my head.
He stuck in my stuck in my head. Yeah, he was really good.
Yeah, because he's someone who is like he hasn't been like a battler or like, I don't think like in the dance scene for a long time. Yeah. But he knows the party environment. He knows the music that was being played and he's a personality. He's big, fun, enjoyable. So when he jumps in a cypher, he's killing it maybe more than I could. And it's like, I've been training my dance maybe more than him, but he's killing it because it's like, you have those skills that are necessary for a cypher, you know? I think in terms of that, it's like, it is the energy of it. It's like what you're paying attention to in a battle maybe is like the music, the structure of your round, the performative, how it looks, the shapes, etc. In a cypher, you're more paying attention to the people around you, and that's why it's such an exchange of energy. Yeah. And that's why it sucks when people are stood around the edge of a cypher not giving anything back, which is like, don't react if you don't feel it, but also if you do feel it, it's like, reciprocate that, and which you don't really have to do in a battle because it's more for the judges. The judges have to vote. But me as an audience member, I don't have this isn't a participation between us really. Whereas in a cypher, this circle exists because we're trying to exchange
it's like
energy.
an ongoing conversation between everybody, really.
Exactly.
Isn't it?
And you don't have to be here if you don't want to be here. So go away or be here to be here.
True.
So I think it's like what I started to like play with, and that's something that I was like, I haven't done this in a while. It's like I go in and I'm like, okay, first of all, if I'm breaking it down to as much of a science as I can, first of all, what's the vibe and the feeling of this song, right? And what are people vibing to with this song? If there's a certain, not like necessarily I have to copy it, but if there's a certain bounce to it, or if there's a certain energy to it, or if there's a certain like feeling to the track, I'm trying to like replicate that, because again, it's like this infectious party energy. Like when someone, that's the reason social dances exist, is because when somebody does the right movement, it spreads throughout the party, and everybody wants to do it. So that's the first thing I tap into, which is kind of why these things are important, is that we're tapping into how these dances were created and spread in party and cypher atmosphere. So if you don't have that, you're doing a removed version of the original version.
True.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it makes
sense. So like when I do hip hop in a cypher, it's not me adding lines and tuts to my bounce that's going to get people moving. It's the bounce and the how much I sit in the track and understand like when things are going to change and when the track drops and that type of thing. That's going to get the crowd moving, and that is what makes the dance social, because hopefully if I'm doing it well, people on the outside are going to bounce their head with me or move with me. And even if I'm doing intricate stuff, if I've got this underneath, the idea is that everybody does this and they feel that they want to do that, you know? So I think that's what you kind of have to tap into. It is, first of all, is the track and the understanding of the feeling of it over the intricacies of it. That you might not even hear in a club sound system, you might not even hear that in the back, but you do hear the which is like, okay, sit on that, play with that, understand that. And then it's like understanding the people. Yeah. Like it's crowd control in a way. That's why I said Kieran Lay is really good at it, because it's like when you feel the energy dip, you got to push your energy. When you feel the energy lift, you've got to do something with that. Like everybody's got excited. Okay, now I've got them on board. Now that might be a moment where I start doing something that everyone can join in with, because they're amplified. Okay, now you don't want to watch. You're like amped. You want to join in. So now let me show you this groove that you can all join in on. We do that. Everyone's gassed. And then I can go, now you're paying even more attention. I can go back into my movement and stuff like that. And it's like, it is a constant, when you're in the middle, it is a constant back and forth between you and the people around. So you've got to be awake and like looking at them and understanding. And it's not a visual thing. It's like an energetic transfer. And also understanding, we spoke about this age ago, Camilla spoke about it and got smoked for it, but like there's different types of ciphers, and that's not only like level wise, it can be, but it's like understand what's happening in that cipher. So for example, if everybody's going in and it's like it's a very short rounds and everyone's like keeping the energy up and it's like everybody's going in a few times and then you go in and do a 2-minute round, it's like you've just killed the vibe that we had going in. If it's like, the Afro dancers are all going in, it's not to say don't go in with the Afro dancers, but there's something that's happening in this cipher, right? And it's an exchange of feeling. So when it goes, it's an Afro song and it goes Afro dancer, Afro dancer, Afro dancer, Afro dancer. It's like a conversation. They're contributing. Everyone around the side is like receiving what's happening and then putting their version in. So it's not to say, oh, if you go in and don't do perfect Afro vocabulary, people are going to be like, oh my God, that's wrong.
Make it make sense to what's happening.
Yes. Make it make sense.
Can you think of it like people having a conversation?
Yes.
As in like if they're talking about something and they're getting deep into it and then you walk over and just completely change the topic.
Yes.
It's like
for no reason other than for yourself.
Yeah.
Like everyone's like, yeah, like there's this movie and I'm not sure what I thought of it. Yeah, I thought it was quite good. I thought it was quite bad and blah, blah, blah. And then I walk over and I'm like, I like peanuts. And then I walk out and they're like,
I like
yeah. And then you just wait and then people carry on talking and then you go back in and you're like, red is a color.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, and then what happens, and you'll notice if you have a friend who interrupts, I'm one of them, but like who interrupts or who changes the topic a lot to talk about themselves, it kills the flow of the conversation. It's flowing, everyone's contributing, and then someone says something and it goes down and everyone goes, all right, anyway, Yeah. So, and then it slowly builds back up. Then you're back at the top, and then someone else can kill it.
Yeah.
It's the same with the cypher because it's an exchange. So, as cliche as that is, but hopefully we're explaining it in a bit more detail. But like, it's an exchange. So if you are going to contribute, it doesn't matter in which language you contribute. And that's what makes dance beautiful, is that you can be a popper or a breaker or whatever and jump in with Afro dancers, with house dancers. Like, it's very possible, but you have to understand what the conversation is in order to contribute properly. That's why usually when you go and sit at a table with people having a debate, you listen for a few minutes first before you go, what are they talking about? You know, or whatever. And then you contribute when you're like, oh yeah, I know loads about this. Like, for example, if you sit down and they're talking about a movie and you've seen that movie 10 times, you're going to jump in straight away with loads to say. That's the equivalent of it being an Afro cypher and you walking in and being like, I'm an Afro dancer. If I'm a popper, unless I dance to this type of music with these type of people all the time, I've got to look and be like, all right, what's the thing? It's a big, energetic expression. Like, they're dancing on the music, blah, blah, blah. So then it's like, okay, if I jump in, I've got to like keep that energy up. And sometimes it's even a refreshing when you have another style that jumps in and like,
if they're like doing like, say, loads of hand stuff and they go in and then maybe you go in and do some tuts and you're keeping with the theme.
Yeah.
It makes sense, but
like, for example, there was a time at Funkin' Styles in, I'm going to say 2011.
Funkin' Styles.
Germany. It used to have a 5-on-5. No, Germany, definitely Germany.
All right.
Used to have a 5-on-5 battle. They had a UK qualifier for a while. Anyway, there was a time when there was Salas. If you don't know him, he's a hip hop dancer. He was Legion X, Niako's partner for a long time. Salah.
Oof.
I think his name is Javier Ninja, who's a voguer, crazy like arm, this type of thing. Junior Boogaloo.
Oof, I like it.
And Two-Face, German.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
If you know those 5 dancers, you understand like what we were watching that day. But basically, they did like an arms concepty cypher, and it got crazy. Like, they were going off, and it was literally like back to like Junior Boogaloo doing like his tuts and stuff, Two-Face doing his concepts, and then Salah doing his concept.
The Voguer
going crazy. Salas was doing the stuff. So, and they're going back and forth, and I'm up on a balcony like watching it, and like the whole club is like watching these guys go around, and it ended up, which was really cool, with Javier Ninja, I think I'm saying his name right, and Salah, and I keep wanting to say Robozy, and Two-Face doing like contact thing for ages, like in the cypher. But watching that, it's like, okay, there's very clearly a theme here. There's a conversation happening. Like, that's like the fucking Avengers of concepts at that time in 2011 especially. So watching that, if I jump in and start doing house, I'm not understanding what's happening. And it's fine in a way, depending on where you are, you might get a different reaction. Wouldn't recommend it in Paris, but like, some people are more polite than others and be like, oh, thanks for your house contribution. Some people will just literally push you out of a cypher.
Bro, that's what happened when I was going back and forth with someone in Paris, and with Forge, and we were doing tuts and stuff, and I said someone came over and they were about to go in and he literally pushed him out.
Paris.
First time I've seen it, but yeah, you said it was normal behaviour.
It's happened to me. I've got like...
Oh, you've been pushed.
Hand in the chest. Like, I was standing next to someone and
I've heard this story.
Yeah, and I went, I'll tell you off the pod who it was, but like, I went to step into the cypher and literally like that, and someone goes, full hand on the chest and goes like that, and I was like... got the message.
Yeah.
That was in the UK. But and I wasn't mad. I was like, oh, fair enough, I didn't get it and I was younger, you know. But I think that's the thing. Like, say that example of Funkin' Styles with these concept people, they're having a conversation and they're building on something. Now that's a very clearly obvious example, but like, it's even more subtle than that, and stuff that you can't put your necessarily finger on and say, it's a tutting cypher, it's a this cypher. It's just an energy. And if you're going to come in, you have to push that energy. You don't have to, of course. There's no rules. But it's like, kind of, like you said, a conversation is like, some, not rude, but next to rude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To just kill the... And it's also why I've always hated when people walk up to a cypher, literally go next after the person that's in. And
then leave.
And then come out and leave. Because this is not... You're showing us something and then taking... your energy with you. So you haven't given any energy to begin with and you haven't left. Like sometimes and this is what this session reminded me of, is like, sometimes I'll just be on the edge of a cypher for like 20 minutes. I have no intention of going in. I'm just enjoying being the edge of the cypher person. I'm enjoying watching, giving energy, like chilling. And then, you know, sometimes I'll jump in. But like, for example, what's that song that I love that you always play? The Last remix.
Try Again with Burner Boy. Yeah.
I love that song if you've ever heard it. But when that song came on, I like ran to the near, because like Delon's, Kieran Lay, Jay Bullet and Big H and some other people were like all in a cypher. So I like ran to the cypher, and I think I went in immediately after Delon's had finished. But then I stayed and I was like, okay, I wanted to jump in because I love this song and I have something to say, to contribute, in air quotes. But then I'm going to stay and like hype up whoever went next to me, and like when they're doing something, I'm going to contribute. So it's like, okay, at least if you're going to jump straight in, stay a bit. And you know, I wouldn't like to just leave the cypher afterwards. But yeah, so I think that's the like cypher stuff. So there's that's like, I've realized it's been a long time since I've practiced that skill, and also a lot of people don't do it, I think, and that's why like sometimes there's ciphers where you're like, this isn't banging like the person in the middle thought it was gonna bang, and you can see it because you're not understanding what the objective here is or what people are vibing. And maybe they don't even realize until they see it. That's why, like I said, like Shaq was a fucking pleasure to have. Please come back, Shaq. To have at the sessions, because it's like you get ciphers, even though you're not like a battler as much or whatever, but you get the shit. The other thing is like that the night doesn't only have to be ciphers, and I think that's what I like about it. Yeah, and this is where we have to talk about the Afro dance community. Listen, you guys, we love you so much that it hurts my heart. So what I think was beautiful about this session, and what I loved, is that you have these battlers, you have these people, but you also have communities like the whackers, the house dancers, the Afro dancers, who I think that the style of dance is still pretty closely related to its party social roots, whereas I feel like some other styles have like drifted a bit from them. So when you have these Afro dancers in a place like this session, not only can they cypher with anyone and like tear up, like there's ciphers that like you could be a great technical battler, you could win all the battles, but you're not stepping in with them because you'll just get drowned in their energy and what's happening. Someone will go in and it's like you don't even exist. Not only that, but they can like shut the fucking place down when it comes to like just partying in a group. Like there's this clip on our Instagram that we shared of everybody doing this dance. Like somebody commented and said it was the African electric slide, which it kind of was that vibe. Like everyone just was like doing the dance, a few times.
Nothing was said. Everyone just looked at each other and knew what to do. And it was like the whole place was like, and the energy just radiates. So it's like, even if I don't know the dance, but I was gassed. Like that was like my favorite moment of the night. And it's like having people like that can like dance, cypher, can party, are great like energy to have around. It's like that's why people would leave the house to go to the club in the first place. It's for that. So it's like I'm super thankful to have those guys especially in the place, because it's really like a lesson to the rest of us in like how to, I don't want to make it seem like I'm saying like there's rules or something, but like not how to party, but like how to let go and enjoy yourself. And it's like, it's not that in this situation and at the root of a lot of these styles, it's not about how intricate can you be, how many foundations can you show me, and how educated are you. It's about how much fun can you have with everyone else and how much energy can you exchange with everyone else. And it's like the house dancers show that, the whackers show that, but like no one showed that more than the Afro dancers, especially at this session. So yeah, it is undeniable how amazing they are. Well, while we're talking about them, we should probably mention the
battle.
The battle.
Yeah.
That was a highlight for me.
Go on.
I mean, I had the best view because I was DJing it right in front of it. But firstly, I think it broke up the night really nicely. I feel like once the battle had happened, the night just got better. I feel like it almost set like a bar for the energy
Yeah.
You know, and then it just carried on from there. But yeah, man, it was how long was the battle in the end? Nearly an hour.
They went for 40 minutes.
40, and they could have gone longer, I think. I don't know.
3-on-3 battle.
I would have watched it for longer.
Yeah, and there was a few times when we were kind of like, oh, should we stop it or whatever? And I was like, nah, just let it go.
Let it go.
Let them run until they're... That's what you were like, how long are they going to keep going? I was like, listen, we're letting them go until they stop.
Bro, do you know what it was though? I'm not an Afro DJ, and neither is Steph really. So
yeah.
I had to basically, for the week leading up to it, do all my research, get a good track list together. Steph took care of the house. I did the Afro. I thought like 30 tracks would be enough. I'm like, that's more than double of what I would think would be enough. Bro, the battle keeps going on. I've got like 5 songs left. So I was looking at you like,
help.
We're ending this soon. You were like, just let it go. I was like, bro.
Yeah, because we kind of sprung that on you last minute. Because basically, for anyone at home, we hadn't planned the exhibition battle when we hired you guys. So it's not like, oh, we had Lewis and Steph, so let's do it. It was like, we had you guys locked in from a long time, and then we were like, fuck it, let's throw an exhibition battle on. We did that, and then it was like, oh wait, someone's got to DJ that. So I was like, Lewis, you can make this happen, right? And you were like, fuck me, all right, fine, I'll figure out a way to do it. But I think you did great, and like I mean, you know, feel free to critique him if you were in the battle. But I mean, well, those guys first of all tore it up, but they seem to enjoy all the songs.
They spoke to me afterwards backstage and said that they really enjoyed the music.
Oh, bang, there we go.
But shout out to Olu, because was it Olu who gave you the...
Yeah, it was.
She helped out, gave me a few artist names and stuff, so appreciate you, Olu.
Credit where it's due.
Credit where it's due, yeah.
Yeah, and like it was sick to see Clara, Kiara and Rory battle in house against them.
Yeah, bro. I mean, the people in the battle, like, it was so high level.
That was a crazy...
It was a crazy lineup.
Yeah.
Because the Afro, it was the 2 judges from the Nike event.
Yeah.
And the winner.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
And you know what's cool as well is like I was so happy to see Clara in that environment, because that's like Clara's environment. You know, it's like all this like battle stuff was cool, but it's like Clara came up and still is like a club person. Like she danced house, learned house, like by going to clubs, and like that was their whole thing. So seeing her, I mean, even the way we set up an exhibition battle was like less organic than just ciphers or whatever, but like it's like having no time limits and having back and forth and having like small space with people sitting on the floor. Like that's where she lives. You know what I mean?
She
like,
killed it.
So yeah, it's just nice to see that. And also like, yeah, Rory's a fucking up and coming star.
How old is Rory?
I don't know, like 21, something like that.
Yeah, he's young, isn't he?
He's dope though.
So good.
Fucking dope. And Kiara's a gangster. Like,
yeah,
like people were like trying to like, listen, one thing about Kiara is like, she is not scared of anyone.
Yeah.
So like, even though she's a house dancer and like, they're all like, we are love and blah, blah. It's like, Kiara's like got a B-girl energy. Like I think she trained breaking and stuff like that. So it's like, yeah, don't
mess with.
Yeah. Don't mistake Kiara's like house dance persona for she won't fuck you up if you get in her face. And I mean, Corey, Delons and Uncle TZ is like fucking dream team of like Afro battle dancers. Yeah, they killed it, man. Really, really enjoyable. I'm glad we had that. We're going to do another one. Wink, wink.
Wink, wink.
We'll announce that soon. But yeah, we got another exhibition battle for March. I'll give you that much. But yeah, what else on the Nike sessions? Yeah, obviously we've got the March one coming up. We're going to announce DJs and exhibition battle soon. All in all, I think we did a lot. For those that didn't come to either the first one or hasn't come to either, we added some bits from the first one. So we changed the format a little bit of the rooms. We got a new speaker system in.
Yeah,
because the speaker system wasn't great the first time, but now apparently they're redoing their speaker system for March, the venue, so we won't have to bring in additional speakers, which we did this session. We brought a floor for the breakers.
Toilets were nice,
and we put little freshen up packs in case people needed some little pss under their armpits.
Some people did.
Yes, every time some people will. That's why we put them there. So I'm hoping people make use of that. But yeah, we added a floor for the breakers. It's funny, like some of the breakers were like, really wanted it, and some of the breakers were like, why do we need a floor? Like I'm happy in the other, some were like, oh, it's dusty and it's cracked, and then some of them were like, nah, like I'll battle on concrete. I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, so I think it's for some of the breakers they want that flooring. Some of them
At least there was the option.
Exactly, and some of them were in the main room with us. Like, and it's not like breakers. Hi, if any of you listen to this, it's not. The flooring is not saying you have to go dance there. It's just if you want an extra space to go and train and have a little bit of softness, you got that floor. But also, please come and just cypher with the rest of us in the space. It's not that we're relegating you to that space. And also, the reason that flooring is not in the main room is that it's a party. Like, people will walk all over it. They'll spill drinks on it. You won't have access to it because there'll be a bunch of poppers dancing on it, and you'll be like, well, this isn't for us. So it's in that other room so that you guys can have your space if you want it. What else do we added that board where people can like take Polaroids and stick them up and write stuff on it. Yeah, people wrote way too big, but it's fine.
That's what I like about this event, even though it's because it's new. Like, there's so much that can still be made better. About it. And it was already amazing. So
that's the good thing about having 6 is that we're learning from it. Like, we're getting feedback. We're going, okay, cool. I didn't know people weren't going to like that, or I didn't know people were going to like that. Let's do that more next time. Or let's fix that.
Like, I based a lot of my, not a lot, but some of the way I played was based off the feedback from
the first one. Sick.
So
yeah, and I think that's also good because it's like, here's 2 things I'll say about the Nike Own the Floor sessions. Nike times the Capsule Own the Floor sessions. Is that, I don't want a monopoly on this idea. It's just a jam session. There's been a million of them. Storm did it before me. Madame Jojo's did it before me. Trocadero, like, maybe not Trocadero, but like a lot of these places had these things. I'm not the first person to think of this. So in that theme, please do this idea at your event. Like, don't go, and I'm not that type of person that I'm going to go, that was my idea. Like, I'm doing this to help and to inspire stuff in the scene. So if you're an event organizer, or you think, okay, I'm going to do a 2-day event, but on the Friday night, I'm going to do an open party night, please do it. Like, and the benefit is, please just come to our events and learn, like, see what you don't like and what doesn't work for you, and use it to create your own thing. But also, we've got 6 events where we're doing a lot of learning and seeing what works and seeing what doesn't. Come to if you came to the first one, come to the last one, see what we've improved. We're doing that so that someone else doesn't have to, so you guys can learn from that and take it and do your own thing. And I'm never going to be like, we did an open session floor, open jam DJ thing first, and you guys are taking our idea. Fuck that. Like, I want to see loads of these in the scene.
Yeah,
like,
I want to see more.
Yeah, so please do more. Yeah, I'll never say it's like copying unless you call it the Own the Floor sessions.
Own the session floor.
Yeah.
As Jenny would call it.
I mean, if you call it Own the Floor sessions, you might get a let from Nike because I think that's a copywritten name. But yeah, anyway, all that to say. And also, if you want to collaborate with us and for us to run a similar type of event at your thing, we can definitely do a Capsule times someone else. Except for Adidas. Sorry, guys. But for now. But what was I going to say? Yeah, I think like we need more of them, and for people to use this as like we're learning for us, but also we're learning to give that knowledge away for the scene, or for people to come and be like, okay, here's an example of how it works with money. What can I do with a less money thing? Or what can I do if I got more money than them, or blah, blah, blah. Anyway. But yeah, great vibes. I'm enjoying it. There was way more people at the second one than the first one, which is great. It looks like it's growing. Hopefully more people come to the next one.
You were 1 in, 1 out at one point, weren't you?
Yeah, we hit capacity.
That's cool.
And also, yeah, only for a short period. But yeah, that's the thing, is like it's a long night. So even if you can't get in at 7, you might get in at 9, and if you can come between 6 and 8 and then leave, and you can come between 9 and midnight and leave. It's like you don't have to be there from 6 till the end. Just come when you feel like coming, you know. But yeah, enjoying it. Looking forward to doing the next 4. We've got some DJs lined up. We've got some more exhibition battles coming. Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I don't think so. Just I had a great time. I really enjoyed it. I'm enjoying seeing people have fun, and especially younger people. Like kind of just jamming and enjoying and having fun, because it's nice to see them, especially as a different demographic than the people that battle. There's the battle heads that are there, but also there's a lot of people who aren't battlers who are jumping in ciphers and having fun. It's like, I love to see that, where it's like you're not restricted to the only way you can enjoy this event is by entering prelims and not getting through.
Yeah, and it's like there's not that like overriding sense of competition in the air.
You're just there to have fun.
Like even ciphers at battles.
Yes, it's like I'm
you could
warming
tell,
up to battle.
Yeah, and you could tell people are kind of in their head trying to get in the zone, whereas the parties are just there to enjoy it, really.
Yeah, exactly. And it just makes me happy. People just fucking having fun, and you know. What else do we have in this land? Usher?
Yeah, Superbowl.
Usher. What do you think?
Yeah. Bro, I really enjoyed it. I mean, I've watched it twice now, and I enjoyed it just as much the second time. Although I'm very easily entertained, like, so it's hard for me to ever critique something like that. But I don't know. I've not read. Were there bad critiques of it?
I don't think so. I think people are pretty on board with it. You know what I was saying to you before the pod is like, Usher released the song "Yeah" in 2004. In 2004, I was 15. That's 20 years ago from today, 2024, that he released "Yeah." 20 years before that, one of the top selling songs was Tina Turner's "What's Love Got to Do with It."
What's love got to do with it?
Fucking banger, first of all. But the point being is that how I feel about Tina Turner, or have felt about Tina, like relative to my life, is how a 15-year-old now feels about Usher.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is interesting, where it's like, I don't even think, like, Usher's not to them a current, or at least that song, but that was like his peak. He's not a current artist. He's like
which is crazy.
An old school artist, like how I would have thought of Tina Turner.
Yeah,
when I was
like 15. I said, things like "Yeah" is one of those songs where you just assume everyone knows that song. When I teach kids classes and I put that on, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, we'll do it to this. You've probably heard this one before." Like, I've never heard this song. Yeah, like, bro, have you not heard this song? So, but yeah,
if you think about it,
was ages ago.
Like, you know, Fat Joe and Ashanti did that song.
What's Love?
What's Love?
Yeah,
that came out in 2002. Wait. Yeah, so that came out in 2002. So Tina Turner's "What's Love" was already being sampled by that point, if that makes sense. Right. So it's like she was old enough that, like, by the time I was like 12, 13, it's being recycled. So imagine that's like the same as, that's more than the time between then and between Usher releasing "Yeah" and now. Like, a new rapper could sample "Yeah" now, and it'd be considered like an old school sample. Does that make sense?
Yeah, of course it does.
Yeah, get it?
Yeah.
Anyway, Super Bowl wise, I thought it was cool. I liked it more maybe than Rihanna's one, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Only thing is that Paris Goebel had a lot of like those, like she was a lot more like on social media afterwards because of all the catchy, like weird dances that she does that have really like stood out. Like Usher's not really like, people aren't doing TikToks like copying his dancing. Like, do you see that thing where she put her hand behind her back and like, like that was like, everyone was trying to copy it on social media, which is what Paris Goebel's really good, Rihanna's choreographer, is really good at.
I did see though Usher, you know, when he was doing like the ticking
stuff,
but bro, I saw so many people
making fun of it.
Him
yeah,
for that. I'm
like, guys, we don't dance like this in 2024.
But I'm like, I kind of thought it looked quite good.
Yeah, because you're a popper and you're into
that's what I'm like, do people look at me when I do stuff like that and
probably
think,
popping is a dance from like the late 80s.
I was watching it like, mate, that's really cool, and then everyone on TikTok's like, so embarrassing.
Yeah.
Like, I do that all the time.
Literally. But you know what it is also, it's like, because Usher's such a phenomenon, him doing like that ticking type of stuff is synonymous with a certain time period. So like Usher did it, and then like a little bit after, like Chris Brown and Omarion did that type of stuff. But that way of dancing was very Usher, very Michael Jackson, very like then. So now when people see it, it's like, that's because they're not exposed to dance every day. We understand the nuances of dance and how that's evolved and changes. But like, it's like almost like a music video where they're dancing in the rain. We might be like, guys, like, what is this? So like, you got served. You know what I mean? Like an old school thing where they're dancing in the rain. But it's like, it's kind of like that for dance where it's like if you don't understand the nuances of dance, you are like, last time I saw this was in 1993, like, or like who was the other one? Ray J, like, you know, when they're like singing in the rain, and like all that.
And I thought Usher was I thought Usher was a good dancer, to be fair.
Yeah.
And I thought his vocals were good as well.
Yeah.
Considering it was live.
Yeah, I think he's good. Alicia Keys is amazing.
Oh, mate.
The guests were pretty good on this one, I think, especially if you like that era.
Yeah.
So like Alicia Keys, Ludacris.
will.i.am was on there.
Was he?
Yeah.
I don't know that people know who Little John is these days. Turn down for what?
Right.
I don't know if that's like...
I recognise the song, but if I saw him... a picture of him, I wouldn't be like, oh my God, that's Lil Jon.
Yeah, he was quite big for a period, but like he didn't really have a lot of longevity.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, I enjoyed it. I'm trying to think if there's anything else on that. Oh yeah, everyone was talking about, did you see when he like hugged Alicia Keys?
Yeah.
And you know, she's married to Swiss Beats.
Right, is that why it was a thing?
Yeah, everyone. And he
hugged her twice, actually. It was the
like
grip.
it was very like
okay.
suggestive.
But I wonder if that would that have been choreo? They wouldn't do...
they've rehearsed it so many times. That's probably not the first time he's done that.
Exactly.
And also, there's a whole thing because... Well, first of all, it's like the song is My Boo, and it's like it's the whole performance of it and whatever. But also, Usher's had have you heard about his Vegas residency?
No.
So he had a residency in Vegas for like a while before this. So probably some of this stuff is similar anyway. But he kept going viral in the Vegas residency because basically he would sing to people in the crowd. And he kept doing it that he would like sing to someone's like wife or something, like a famous person's wife, like even if they're sitting there, he'd like go up and like serenade them. And then all the social media blogs would go mad of like, Usher serenades this person's wife and like blah blah blah, and share videos of it. So it's kind of a thing he would do to go viral, is like serenade someone's wife and like, you know, like sing a love song to them or whatever. So I think also this was like continuation of that, where I don't think he was doing it to be over the top like that, but people are already primed of like Usher's the Mr. Steal Your Girl type of thing. So when he did that, it was like people are ready to like report on that, I think. But Swiss Beats commented going like, oh, like, you know, she had a beautiful performance, like you guys are focused on like stupid stuff, like whatever. So he doesn't have a problem with it. So yeah, anyway, it was interesting. Yeah, I don't really know if there's anything else on the Super Bowl, but
I had a question about it actually.
Go on.
That you might know. In terms of the production of that, right, or the choreo, is that one person that's in charge of all of that choreo and or is it like different stages and songs will have had someone? I don't know how much you know about the behind the scenes or something like that, because it's such a big job. When I watched it the second time, I was like, the whole production of this is just crazy. Yeah.
I mean, there'll definitely be one main choreographer,
right,
who oversees the whole thing, who will also, like we're talking about with a cinematographer, that one choreographer will work with Usher, but also work with the staging, work with the light, like to figure out, okay, I want to do this. And they're like, well, the stage is a circle, you can't do that. Like, you know what I mean? Or whatever. But there's be at least one assistant choreographer, maybe more, to like help manage everyone. Do
we know who the choreographer was?
I can Google it. I don't know if I know. Usher Super Bowl choreographer is I don't know. This is one thing I can tell you right now, is there was a different choreographer for the rollerblading part.
I can imagine, yeah.
Because I guess that, if that's not your thing, I can't see. There's probably someone out there going, I know who it is. Sorry guys, I can't find it immediately. Oh, his choreographer for the halftime performance, Sean Christopher Freeman. Sorry guys, this is why we need tally. I don't know who this is.
I feel like that name rings a bell, but if you don't know it, then I definitely won't know.
Sean Christopher Freeman.
Sean Freeman. Oh, I don't know.
There's probably some people out there that are like, these guys know nothing. But yeah, overall, good shit. Love to see some good old dancing and stuff in a big arena like that. What else?
Do we want to talk about Peng-Tings-Week?
Yeah, Peng-Tings-Week is happening currently. When this is out, it'll probably, I don't know when this will be out exactly, but yeah, Indahouse Peng-Tings-Week. If it's still happening, go on their page and check what's happening out whichever day this comes out. Or if it's already finished, then go and check out anything they've got online, any videos, whatever. Follow Indahouse page for more. But they've got an event tonight when we're recording, which is
DJ battle.
Yeah, DJ battle. It's called Rhythm Riot, I believe. Tomorrow is the
Cypher.
It's called, I think it's Empire House. Empire, the house collective that are doing it. It's called I'll House You or something maybe. Saturday is the In the Firehouse, which is
the first
battle.
Kingdoms League
Battle
for 2024.
And then Sunday is workshops. Yugson and
I love Yugson.
Sophie May.
Yeah.
So that should be interesting. Check that out. Shout out to In the House. They put on their, it's every February they put on their Peng-Tings-Week. It's like a week of events, and basically like we just said, but they announce different events each year. And then did we have any I had a couple of like questioning. Was there anything else that we said we were going to speak about?
No, not off the top of my head.
Let's check there was a few like prompts and questions. Vibe Connection, how was Vibe Connection?
Vibe Connection. Shout out Beth, who runs Vibe Connection, because she's done 3 events now, and all 3 of them I would say have been really successful. Especially the last one. Everyone's raving about it. I don't know if you've seen those stories. But
Yeah, it looked good.
Yeah, man. It was a long day, but it was at the new 0161 venue, which was a really nice venue for a battle. It's like dim lights, good flooring. The level was insane for a Manchester event. I think that was the most surprising thing. Because
also people saw that it worked before, so they know it's going to be a decent battle. They're happy to travel for it. I think people will travel for a decent battle.
Yeah, man. It was a really, really good event, and I believe they're going to do another one in 2024.
Let's go.
So, yeah, man.
Keep your eyes peeled for Vibe Connection. And I think all the videos are up on YouTube now, so
they are.
Go check them out. Pop in old gen versus new gen. Do you watch the video?
Yeah, me and Harry watched it together, actually.
What do you think? Like it? I bet Harry was gagging to be in it.
Yeah, I mean, I liked it. I feel like I just feel like it could have been done better, but I think for the time constraint,
it was literally like where they had a week to plan it and put it, because it was a fundraiser for Boogaloo Sam. But even they said on the night, like, we want to do it again, but do it like kind of properly or whatever. Like it could be a whole night.
Yeah,
thing,
but no, it was cool.
It was a really nice like exchange and like nice.
I want to see more of the older lot.
Yeah,
because when I was growing up, that was they were the people that were entering battles, and you were watching all the time. So yeah, it's nice to see them again. Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, but also shout out to them for like, raising a family, being stand-up members of society and all that.
Yeah, fair play. Life does go on.
Yeah, exactly. Who should battle next? Not in the exhibition battle type of thing, but just like we did pop in old gen versus new gen. We could do a hip-hop old gen versus new gen, but who is even around?
Who would be the old gen?
Exactly.
Kashmir?
I mean, I would say probably the best, if we're doing it just off like old gen and new gen, you'd probably want like...
You know more than me really on that.
It depends how old gen we're going. If we're going old gen, like original gen, it's probably like... I mean, you could put Cash and Kieran in there, but it's probably like...
Would Kofi be among that?
Yeah, Kenrick, Kofi. Turbo, if we could pull Super Malcolm out somewhere.
Get you in there. You're kind of new.
What?
New. You're not new gen, but like...
New gen.
I think with popping you fit more into that in terms of...
Yeah. But like I was like the youngest one of the generation of like Kenrick, Kofi, Turbo, people like that. And then Kashmir and Kieran were like... Kashmir was like just after me. Kieran was like a few years after me. And then they both got way better than me. But but yeah, I was like... like Kashmir was like... I wasn't new in this. I wasn't long in the scene when Kashmir started joining battles and stuff. And then I think, yeah. So I think I would go with maybe like Cash, Kieran, Malcolm, Kenrick, Kofi. That'd be cool. And then new gen is like there's
a million to pick from.
Yeah, exactly. Kane, Carl, Zach. I mean, Jesus Christ, the old gen would have some work. Yeah, so you guys got to put some training in before, because these guys are like on it. But I got this is like questions from the audience, by the way, people that are listening and not watching. The general change of the dance scene for the next gen. I don't know how much I've got to say on that, but I think.
What does that mean?
Yeah, I mean, you could take that in a lot of ways, but I think like it's always going to be the way, but like, you never realize like how lucky you are to have the scene that you have, and like you'll feel like that in 10 years about the next generation. But like, there's never been this many opportunities in UK dance as there is,
bro.
now.
There's like a battle every weekend. Sometimes you have to pick between 3.
Yeah.
Could you ever imagine that when you were?
No, we used to have
younger?
like 3 battles a year.
3 battles a year, yeah.
And then like a few like jams and nights and stuff like that. But there wasn't that many battles. So yeah. Somebody asked, is there a possibility the Capsule could open a dance studio in the future? Yes, but I don't want to. I don't think. I would open like a venue maybe that had a dance studio in it.
Because what does opening a dance studio mean? You're gonna then have classes and have a
program
school.
Classes yeah, exactly. Or your own school. I don't think I'd go down that road. I'd go for like a venue where like kind of like East London
Dance, space,
yes, where they have like a studio, but then they also have before a dance studio, I'm getting a podcast studio. That would be the first thing.
Makes sense.
But like, dream would be one day have like a whole building that has like an office in it, but then has like a photography and video studio, a dance studio.
People from the scene could come and like work on their laptop, do some producing, you know.
Yeah. I'd love to have that.
That could definitely be a thing.
And then there was someone else that basically asked for my. She sent like a shout out to Jade. She's
Hackett.
Nope, Wacker. You might know her if you see her. She's been at the sessions.
Oh yeah, I recognise her.
But she was saying that she wants to know about, how to sum this up, about like community in the dance scene, being a community leader or a builder, and she said she'd be interested to hear my thoughts on what my thoughts are, what my journey was, like building community basically.
I'm interested.
You're interested? Oh, that's good.
And what are you going to say?
I think, to be honest, I'm a bit of a like person who was a bit like, I don't need to be a leader necessarily. Like I'm the sort of person, like, you know, when you do a group project, it's like, I don't want to have to organize this. Like, you know, in uni or something, there's like 5 of you and you're like, okay, we're going to do the thing. It's like, if somebody else is like, right, you're going to do this, I'm like, cool, I'll just do my part and that's it. And I could do the bare minimum and just give it in and get a good grade and go home. But if this is going to be a mess and it's going to be stressful for everyone, it's like, all right, everyone shut up, I'll do it. Like, because I don't want to.
Which I feel like back in the UMA days, which is our old crew, by the way, that was very much always the case.
Yeah.
I feel like you were always leading it, but maybe that wasn't because you wanted to, but because no one else was going to.
Like, it's not that I actively don't want to or I don't enjoy it. Like, I love what I'm doing with the Capsule, but it is like I would have been equally happily doing what I was doing if somebody else ran this, and I would have been like, can I volunteer and help you out or whatever, but I wouldn't have needed it to be my platform. Like, I don't need to. As soon as I can afford it, I'll have other people doing the stuff. You know what I mean? Or like, I'll put other people at the forefront or that type of thing. So I don't necessarily need to be the one. Like, none of this is really about I need the recognition for it or whatever. I mean, after I do super hard work, it is nice to have a pat on the back, but it's not like, that's not why I started it. It's more just like, the scene needs this, like, no one's doing it. And also, like, after a while I had built up a lot of skills that I was like, right, all of these skills are cool, like photography, video, organization, like all these different things. And I'm like, if I just put them together and make this thing, I can help a lot of people and find a way to like make money from it, which is cool. Which that side we're still working on. But yeah, I think it's like, I think I don't. She didn't really specify like what the thoughts were, so maybe I'll just talk generally. But I think like building community stuff. It's like for me, it was a case of there's glaring holes in this community that I love. Well, not even necessarily, I guess holes, but like things that I know I could fill. You know, like we don't have enough media exposure. Like people are paying videographers who are not dancers, who are like charging full rates or whatever. Like, oh, I wish there was a videographer or more videographers that love the scene that would just give discounts to everyone and do a lot of stuff to help out. And, you know, and I was seeing like how important it is to have stuff online, or how important it is to have like, even like conversations. I was like, we're all misunderstanding stuff because no one's talking. Everybody's talking behind the scenes, and everyone's having dinner and having chats. And those that like the people that are lucky enough to like travel and like have these conversations are learning. But I was like, all these other people that are coming up are like just not getting it. And then all of us dancers that are traveling are talking about how no one else is getting it. And I'm like, but if people could hear us talk right now, they'd get it. So then it's like, all right, well, why don't I just start a fucking podcast, have these chats with a microphone in front of us, and then, you know, people are going to be able to learn from whatever, you know, conversations we have. And that's why I was always like, it can't just be like fluffy interviews where it's like, oh, tell me about why you started dancing. Like I have to have real conversations and stuff that's maybe uncomfortable, stuff that maybe people are not going to be happy about me saying. Even like when I review shows and stuff, it's like, listen, like there's things that I've said about shows or about people or whatever that or like dancers or battles or events. We know this, that people have not been happy about the stuff that I've been saying. But I will tell you one thing now, people are saying that shit off mic. A lot of people. If I'm saying it, I'm not the only person that said it. I promise you that, because I talk to people before I say anything. Yeah. And I'm like, am I on my own that I think this thing was shit or that was horrible or blah, blah, blah. And if I'm on my own, I go, all right, maybe let me not mouth off on the pod because maybe I'm wrong, and I do a bit more research and I try to talk to people about why I think the way I think. If everybody else is disagreeing with me, I'm like, so then why do I feel like this? Do I not understand or whatever? So if I come on here and give a passionate speech about how shit something was, believe me, I'm not the only one that thinks that. So you can, I'll happily take the bullets of people being pissed about that, but it's like, at least I'm telling you. At least I'm not like, the mics aren't here like, and I'm like, oh, there's a microphone, I didn't know you, like I'm doing it on purpose so that you hear it, right? Or people listen. So it's like, it's like I'd rather have that transparency at the cost of people being pissed with me, but I'd rather have that transparency in the scene, because maybe you're going to be pissed, but then you're also going to go, but did we do something wrong? You know what I mean? Like, or is there something I could have done better? It happens to me all the time. People criticize the Capsule. I get irritable and be like, oh, they're always lashing out. But then I go, after like I calm down a bit and I go, but do they have a point? Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. But I do, that is my secondary thought is, okay, but what can I learn from this? So the people that reach out and say things or like complain or cuss me out or all the different things that have happened, they annoy me. But they annoy me way less than the person that says it behind my back and doesn't tell me. And I'm just like, well, you could have helped me by telling me that thing. You know what I mean? So I think it's like the whole message of the Capsule and the community building thing is that, you know, I'm doing stuff that I think is missing from the scene. And I think that's what we all should do with this world is like, all right, what do you think is missing from the world? Either help someone else who's doing it or do it yourself. You know, it's like, oh, there's not, like if there was another podcast, I probably would have asked them, can I work with them? Or, you know, but there wasn't. So I'm all right, I'll do it then. And I think, you know, it's not to say if there's something that you think is missing from the Capsule, you should start a media platform and I will support that platform, especially if it's doing something that we're not doing. It's like, I'll be like, oh, can I work with you? I mean, the D-Li guys, they do a lot of that, like for a younger generation, they do more like funny stuff. They do more the way they edit, the way they interview people. We don't do that because also I'm fucking 34 and they're like younger. So as soon as I saw their stuff, I was like, yo, really like, what can I do? Can we work together? Do you want to come on the pod? Like, because it's like, if you're doing something that we're not, I happily support it, because it's not about me having a monopoly on everything. As long as I'm making a living, I'm happy. But it's more about what does the community need, and if that's being filled, then great, you know.
No, you're doing a bloody good job, mate. I think everyone will agree, don't we, guys?
Not everyone will agree, don't we? I mean, everyone's like, yeah. I don't think everyone agrees, that's for sure. But no, but I mean, I'm trying, and I think, that's the thing with the community stuff. It's like, you have to kind of continue to be a part of the community, and I think that's what's important for me, of like to still enter battles, to still go to events, to still, if I stopped, the top of it is the dance, no, the top of it is the music, then the dance, then the community, then this. So it's like, if I stop loving the music, if I stop loving dancing, I don't think I would be able to keep doing the Capsule, because the only reason I can do this shit, I can do even the stuff I'm getting paid for, which is hard work, let alone the stuff I'm doing for free off my own back. I couldn't do any of it if I didn't love like when I train here and I like set up my phone and film myself dancing, I'll do rounds of hip hop and stuff like that. And I'm like, I fucking love fucking freestyling, man.
Yeah.
Like, I love doing hip hop. I love doing popping. Like, to this day, it's still, I go to battles and I watch like the finals go off, or I enter a battle and I'm like, I still fucking love this shit. Like, it's nothing is like, oh, I want to grow up or do something different or move on with my life. It's like, no, I love this shit. So that's why I can keep doing this. Cause it's also like, cause I love it, when I see something wrong, I care. You know, when I see, I don't know, like something the scene's missing, or people that are unhappy, or something going wrong, or people arguing because of misunderstandings, or whatever it is, or people not learning the stuff that they could learn or growing in the way that they could. I'm like, I feel it because I care about the scene, and I care, especially about like, you know, being in London 15 years. It's like, I care about the whole world scene, but also I care about London, you know. It's like, there's somewhat of a like ownership of, it's my city,
Yeah,
you know.
man.
When people come here, I have a pride, even before the Capsule, I have a pride in like, oh, you're coming from Germany to London? Let me show you the events. Let me take you to Peng-Tings-Week. Let me take you to this. Like, I know the spots because it's my city, and I'm proud I'm proud to show you all the classes and the cool shit, you know? So I think that pride and that like love of being a part of the community is like, it makes it easy to do this stuff.
It shows, man.
Thanks, man. And I'm just, you know, it's like trying to always do a better job. I still got a long way to go. And I think there's definitely negative sides to it. I think like, I don't know if this is answering Jade, if this is answering your question, I don't know, but I'm trying, but also message me if not. I think there's definitely negative sides. Not everybody's going to agree with the way you do things. Not everyone agree. The things that you see wrong with the scene, some people are going to say they're not wrong. Some people are going to say they're already doing something about it. Sometimes the answer is like, yeah, you are doing something about it, but you're not doing enough, or you're shit at your job, and I'm going to do a better job of it, right? And if that, you know, that's kind of also a hard conversation, because then people get pissy if you're stepping on their toes. There's always, anytime you do anything, people always have something to say about it, especially the better you get at it. It's always like, yeah, but you could do it differently. You could do it better. And it's like, okay, I'm trying. Like, before it didn't exist at all, and now I'm doing it. And you kind of want to say that of like you don't want to say be grateful you've got it at all, but you kind of feel like that.
Yeah.
But then it's like, okay, and I'm the one that says this about when I review a show or something. It's like, anytime you put anything into the world, people have a right to criticize it or to speak on it, especially if it's about their community. So like, if I'm talking about London dancers, it's like, everyone in London who's a dancer has a right to an opinion about the Capsule, because it's for your community. So if you don't like the way I'm doing it, you have to tell me, even though that's mad uncomfortable for me. And I have to, trust me when I say it's weekly, I have to put my ego to the side when someone says something. And especially if they don't deliver, if somebody delivers something politely, fine. But if they don't deliver it politely, I still have to go, you know what, as much as this hurts my feelings and I'm annoyed as a person, this isn't about me, it's about the Capsule and the community. So what's the truth in this? And of course, if somebody crosses a line, I tell them, don't speak to me like that. But as long as it's like, all right, they're saying their truthful thoughts in the same way that I say my truthful thoughts about theatre shows, and I would say it to that person's face as well, whoever I'm critiquing, and events and stuff like that. If they say it to my face, or they say it in a message, it's like, you know what, like,
fair game.
What exactly? It's like, that's what I signed up for. So yeah, man, it's like, I think that's kind of one of the things that I didn't realize I was going to need until I started the Capsule, is like my patience. And I think I am a really patient person. I'm able to like compartmentalize my emotions and like know when it's my ego talking, or my ego that's getting angry, or if it's actually worth getting angry over, or whether, even if I feel like I'm defensive, but I'm like, nah, I'm actually in the wrong here. Like, I'm pretty good at reasoning things out, and also responding to people professionally. Like, as soon as you react out of anger as a business, is like game over. Like, as soon as someone, like, they can mouth off, like, if you're working in a shop, like, you know, a Nike shop or whatever, and a customer starts shouting at you, you can tell them, please leave the shop, don't speak to me like that. As soon as you hit them or shout back and tell them they're an asshole, you're going to lose your job.
Yeah.
Which is like, you can't do that. Even if they do it, you know, you have to kind of be the bigger person. So that's kind of with me. I'm like, I'm lucky that it's like, I think I have that quality of like patience where it's like, okay, people can say things or rile me up or whatever. And I'm like, thank you for your feedback on the capsule. I really appreciate, you know, and it's like, I think without that, the capsule would be done already. Cause there's a lot of stuff that I would have reacted badly to.
I was going to say.
And like, you know, and like people that are listening that have heard stories from behind the scenes. Maybe one day we'll do a behind the scenes pod, behind the paywall. And we'll talk about all the,
that'd be a good one.
Yeah. You can pay £5 to watch it and then only the people that really love us will
These
hear
can be
it.
the Patreon episodes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, all the behind the scenes shit that people have said or done. But yeah, man, it's like this shit is sometimes not super easy, but the main focus is just like I love doing the shit. I love being a part of it. It's like even like the Nike sessions. It's like it's not there. Like I love being at the event, so it's like worth all the hard work. Is like I just get to be at it.
Facts.
But yeah, I think like. And the other thing I will say on the, still trying to answer your question, Jed, on the community stuff is like, it's very hard. You can't, and this is something I wrestle with a lot because I get tempted to do it. I don't think you can force a community to be something that you want it to be. I can't force the community to only include the people that I like. It has to be everyone. And as much as you might think that like, that's not the case with me. Trust me, it's like, it's not that easy to try and cover everyone in the fucking scene, but I'm doing my best. But like, it's like, there's times when I don't want to cover something or I don't want to do this or I don't want to talk about something or whatever. But it's like, listen, I don't get to choose who's in the community. That's what makes it a community. I just get to report on the community or cover the community. Like, and if someone annoys me personally or I don't like them as a person, tough shit. They're a part of this community. They contribute to the community that as much as anyone else. So I've got to like reason that out and be like, you know, it's still my job to encourage all and support anyone, even if I don't like them. And the other thing is also like the way people behave. So the way, if no one liked these parties or whatever, like I took a somewhat of a gamble of like, right, we haven't had like parties or sessions, but I think there's a need for it. It's not just that I think we should do it. I think there's a need for it and I think people will enjoy it when they see it. But if everyone was like, no, we don't want parties anymore, that's dead, like we just want battles, I can't be like, yeah, but you need this and like force you to do it. I have to just, I support the scene how it is, if that makes sense. And I can try and educate, I can try and shine a light on the right things, I can try and provide things that are needed, but I can't force a community to be something it's not, or a culture. And I think that's the mistake a lot of people make when they're building communities. They go, I want things to be like this, or I think things should be like this, so I'm going to force everyone to do what I want to do, as opposed to just celebrating what the thing is. And if you think it's gone left because people are uneducated or whatever, don't force them to do the right thing. Educate them so they want to do the right thing.
Facts.
You know what I mean? Or talk to them or show them why. It's like, you know, you have this with rappers where it's like, you have the people that say everyone that's not a lyrical 90s rapper is shit. And it's like, well, you're never going to get those people on your side. Whereas either be the rapper that does, like, let's say like someone like Drake, who has all the new generation people, but then he'll do a collab track with like J. Cole or something, for example. Then it's, or J. Cole, who has like all the commercial success, and then he'll do a collab with like Benny the Butcher or people like that who are like real lyricists. It's like, look, put your money where your mouth is if you want to show something, and you're gonna make like maybe a track that J. Cole does with Benny, if you know who Benny is, like he might earn less from that, but that's what he's doing to try and give him a spotlight, you know what I mean? So do stuff like that, but you can't just telling people you're doing it wrong with something as organic as a culture or a community is never going to work. And it never should work, really, because it's like, as soon as you force...
It's not a cult. You can't force a culture.
Exactly. I don't think you can force a culture or a community. You can't, because then it's not that anymore. It
has to be organic.
Now it's a country club, or it's a crew, or a, you know what I mean? It's like, if I say you can or can't come into the dance scene, it's not a community anymore. It's a
cult.
Kind of, yeah. And if I say you have to do the same things I'm doing and for the same reasons, blah blah, I say no, it's just things are gonna change and evolve, and you just have to do your best to like inform everyone enough to make the right decisions for the right reasons. And if things start to evolve and change, you kind of got to roll with that and you know, do what you think is best to contribute to the movement rather than control it, I guess. But yeah, I don't know how much, Jade, I'm sorry if I didn't answer that.
I think you answered the question.
Yeah. I don't know. There's some thoughts there.
At least most of it anyway.
Well, we can reconvene if not. But yeah, I think we can wrap it up. But thanks everyone for listening. I love ya. Thanks everyone for coming to the Nike sessions. I love ya. There's more. March 22nd, then April, May, June. If you're listening, please, if you see us post these things on social media, especially for the Nike stuff, please like leave comments, leave feedback, especially if it's positive, because definitely we need the negative feedback, but the positive stuff, it helps as well to for us to like show engagement and show that the community cares. Because I know some of you say it to me in real life and stuff, which is great, but like Nike don't hear that. Whereas if you write it on the post, they're going to see that and it's going to make it's going to make them aware of what you're saying, which I know is true because you're all saying it to me in person. But also the more you leave it, it's evidence that then I can screenshot and show them or take to other things. It really helps on a business side. The more you wouldn't believe the deep dives that companies, not just Nike, other companies will do to see all this content and see the comments, and all these little things will make a big deal. So yeah, that will help. And we got the What Can We Learn Wednesdays are coming back, people.
Woo.
I'm sorry, it's
I've
been a
missed
long
those.
time. I shouldn't have left you without some What Can We Learn Wednesdays to step two. Huh? To learn to. Anyway. Yeah. Shout out to all the loyal listeners that make it to the end of every pod and that listen to all the pods regardless of who's on, and whether it's just a in our house podcast and all the interviews on whatnot. You guys seem to love the Jimmy one. He was spitting some facts. But yeah, a lot of views on that one. People love Jimmy.
Oh, has that gone well, that one?
Yeah, like 1,000 views on YouTube.
Oh, sick.
And like those reels, like,
yeah, man, that was a good one.
What else? Yeah, I think that's it really. We got some exciting stuff lined up for the rest of, let's say for the first half of the year up to August. I've got some exciting stuff lined up. I actually haven't told you about the meeting I had today. But yeah, and then we'll see what happens second half of the year. Once the Nike sessions are done, who knows? The world is our oyster. So yeah, love you all. Appreciate your support more than you will ever know, especially people that are listening, because you loyal listeners are the core of this thing. If you're listening now and you listen regularly, you are the core of the capsule. You are the fucking heart of this thing. So thank you, and I love you all. I love you, Lewis.
Love you too.
Been a pleasure to have you here.
I love you, Jenny.
Love you, Jenny.
She's in the corner.
Love you, Tally. Love you, Nike.
Tally, I really love you.
Yeah, me too. Love you, Nike. Love you, Harry. In the most professional way possible. And yeah, have a good week, peeps, and we'll catch you next time.